Hi, this is Sam Stone here at New York Comic Con 2023 with CBR, here with Heather Antos, group editor over at IDW Publishing, and Collin Kelly, editor-writer of some of your favorite Star Trek titles and, just comic titles in general. I feel like you and Jackson are everywhere these days, Collin.
We are blessed to be having this amazing moment in our careers where we have books with pretty much so many amazing publishers. I agree. I hope people aren't getting tired of us.
So with that in mind, you guys have just wrapped Day of Blood over, the big Star Trek crossover event between Star Trek and Star Trek Defiant. What was it about kind of like tackling the God side of Star Trek for this adventure?
So that was baked into the entire story that we wanted to tell. It started with the idea of what happens when Kardashev Level 3 civilizations start getting murdered, getting destroyed. So we knew that this was always going to be a story about what gods mean in the Star Trek universe. And for a show that is so much about science, it is riddled with nigh omnipotent beings. And that's really something that we wanted to tackle. And with Kahless and Day of Blood, having him step up and trying to achieve that level of power was incredibly important for us to kind of show what happens when you lose sight of your humanity and start to try and ascend to something so much more.
Some of the cool things about Day of Blood, there's a lot of cool things, but we start to see an expansion of the lower decks like stuff into that. We have an entire issue from Shaq's perspective. How is it kind of seeing for the first time in comic book form, some of these characters get to play with the Next Gen and Deep Space Nine characters?
Yeah, it was so fun and such a privilege. We're so thankful that Mike McMahon, the creator of Lower Decks, is such a fan of what we're doing in the comics and actually knows Jackson and Collin from way back in their Star Trek fandom days, that he blessed us with getting to use Shax and actually showing him in his first live action form in our second arc, The Red Path of Star Trek. And, Shaq's Best Day kind of started as a joke, really, in the writer's room of Day of Blood. At that time, we weren't 100% sure if we were going to be allowed to use Shax in the comics. And so we didn't want to make his plot super integral to the overarching story in case they were going to yank him last minute. So, it was, Bailana and Ro are off doing this, and Worf and Cisco are off with Kahless, and Shaq's just having his best day ever. And then one thing led to another, and I wrote to Ryan North and said, hey, you like writing these characters, right? How about you do this one? And he was super game. Derek Charm came in and just kicked ass at that comic, and I think we truly gave Shax his best day ever.
There you go.
Also, just to tag into that, the fun thing is also, obviously, violence is very delicate within the Star Trek universe. This is stories about intelligent people who utilize their minds rather than their muscles. Shax, very smart man, loves to use his muscles. And because we were able to kind of key that into a slightly more animated feel, they were much better and okay with us just making something crazy violent. Fuchsia blood everywhere. And it was just really, really fun.
I feel like, how fun was it just putting the crew together? Because you really got, everyone from Scotty to Crusher to, you've got Data. It must have been just a kid in a candy store moment.
Look, the entire process has been kid in a candy store. The very start, IDW has been nothing but supportive of every one of our craziest ideas. But yes, specifically to the crew, Jack and I sat down one day and we just did a draft. We were just asking, who do you want on this ship? And we started pulling our favorite characters. He said, we got to have Beverly in medical. And I was like, well, then we have to have Tom Paris at the helm. Right? And we kind of horse traded until we found this cast that not only gelled together thematically and emotionally, but also was just like our fan dream coming true. And then when we sat down with Chris and started to cast Defiant, we did a similar process where he was picking his characters. We had this, they have that. And we just kind of were able to come together and create effectively, an entire cast across both books, knowing that they'd come together in Day of Blood, which is knowing that one day we'd be able to bring Tom and B'Elanna back together was a big heart song for me.
But beyond that, a big part of this has also been introducing new ideas and new characters into Star Trek. And a big goal of mine is to not just make it a very insular universe, but an expansive universe. And that's where we see the creation of characters like Lily Sato, Dashini, our lieutenant, on the crew of the Theseus, who actually was just a character that Ramon just drew, and so we got to create an entire like backstory and have some cool moments with her. Our Orion pirate doctor on the crew of the Defiant. It's just been so fun getting to add our own touches to this very beloved era of Star Trek.
Well, in terms of that cross-pollination, how is it overseeing these two sister titles in addition to the upcoming titles like, Sons of Star Trek and Warp Your Own Way? Like, what was it about? Kind of like, how is it making sure it all feels cohesive?
A lot of practice. I'm no stranger to balancing very complex universes. I did do a lot of work on the other Space Star franchise. Yes, that one. No, and honestly, it's just fun. We have I have great assets in Jackson, Collin, Chris, Ryan. Who Ramon and Angel, like all our creators, like live and die and breathe and bleed Star Trek. Beyond that, with our partnership at Paramount, everyone over there is just so supportive and such a great asset and teams. Like every time we have a crazy idea, we take it to them, and sometimes they'll say, oh, you can't do that because of Picard season 3 or the upcoming Academy TV series or whatever, but you can do this, right? And no one wants these books to succeed more than we do, and having such a collaborative, cohesive family of talent across the board, it's just fun.
You mentioned the Theseus, and I wanted to touch on that because in Star Trek, everybody knows that, the Enterprise, everybody knows the USS Voyager and Captain Janeway. Like, what kind of personality did you want to give the ship of Theseus and its very eclectic crew?
Ooh, what a lovely question. So, the Theseus was actually, we introduced it as a ship in Star Trek Year 5. And it was a brand new kind of class of ship, and we were really excited. We thought that would be the coolest. We thought that would be where it existed, and it was a one and done, and that'd be delightful. But then being able to bring it into this main book, knowing that we didn't want to do another Enterprise, we needed something to be really unique. And the key was Montgomery Scott, right? As soon as we realized that this has been Scotty's, basically his retirement project, that meant this ship got to be strange and eclectic and have new kind of systems, which frees us as writers because we can, spoiler alert, do whatever we want the ship to do, which is incredible. But we wanted it to be that kind of a ship that could surf the line between our realm and the next. A ship that you could see going up against gods as much as you could see them going up against the Zenkethi or the Romulans, right? Like, that's a ship that we wanted to be kind of sit in all worlds, much like its captain, Benjamin Sisko.
This January we've got the Defiant Annual coming out. What can you kind of tease, Heather, about what Chris and Ramon are doing over on that title?
A lot of family drama, a lot of that. No, this book is such a passion project for Chris. I really honestly, I hope you get to talk to him about it, because he loves Selah so much, and he loves Tasha, and Selah is she's a very interesting character, right? She's not a good guy, but she's not always a villain. She really does dance that line. And we definitely explore that, especially in Defiant and in this annual. I don't want to give too much away, but we do get to see a much alluded to, but never yet before depicted moment between Selah and her mother. And it's very, very emotional. And Ramon's art on this, Ramon's art across everything has been just absolutely stunning. Star Trek, Day of Blood, but the Defiant Annual in particular, along with Lee Lowridge's colors. I often in my meetings with Paramount allude to it's Blade Runner Star Trek. It's really, really cool, and I just need some more neon lights thrown in there to make it yeah.
And I wanted to take some time to big up, what Ramon and Lee are doing. How is it having them and just bringing your and Jack's scripts to life?
Incredible. Ramon's work has been just absolutely defining on the book. He turned the Theseus design around in one shot, right? We came up with the brand new uniforms, like one and done. His vision for this is so clear, and he loves Star Trek so much. Sometimes you see an artist of such a caliber and you think they're going to be very, I don't know, you picture them as kind of like very stoic or very like artistic, and Ramon's just a big dork. Which is exactly the kind of energy that you want to bring to these characters. Then Lee bringing his art to life is just unreal. He captures the grandness of space in a way that is so important, and so much more important than just black with twinkles. Like, bringing it to life has been incredible.
One title I wanted to give the shout out. I mean, you've got Picard's Academy coming out, with Sam Maggs and the entire creative team over there. Like, what was it about exploring Jean-Luc's early years, and especially working with Paramount and kind of like coloring in between the lines, so to speak?
Yeah, so I would say, it's always Kirk or Picard, right? That's always who's the best captain, right? And Pike, Janeway. There's other people, but Cisco, Worf. But
Archer.
Picard, the TV show is going on, or was going on at the time, and so that meant, Jean-Luc, that age, Patrick Stewart, was very much off the table of what we could do in the comics. And, all of our books at the time were just very much steering towards the adult, very serious, very galactic level stakes. And I definitely wanted to find something to bring to a younger audience, but something that, people our age could still identify with and enjoy. And, I think, honestly, what Sam and Ornella and Charlie are doing with Picard's Academy is such a breath of fresh air amongst all the Day of Blood, cult, Klingon chaos, that it's so fun to see a character that we all know and love make mistakes and be stubborn and arrogant. And I often say, when you're a teenager, when you're a young adult, when you're lacking in life experience, everything feels like life or death stakes. Everything does. And to get to see, again, Jean-Luc Picard in these moments it's so fun, and it definitely colors in a new light. And we do get to see, him sit in the captain's chair for the first time, him hang out with Boothby for the first time, and a lot of other big firsts that you never really thought of. And it's just so fun.
First time with hair.
There you go. I think I have time for one more. Yeah, we've seen how that goes. But what else can you tease about the main Star Trek title, Collin, as we kind of pick up the pieces, really, from Day of Blood?
Yes, so our next arc, called A Savage World of Glass and Bone, our artist is Marcus Toe. People who know Jack and I from our earliest work, Joyride, with Marcus, basically we got the band back together. We when we went to Marcus's wedding up in Toronto, it was a Star Trek-themed wedding. So we knew we needed to bring the band back together. But once we move through that, we're entering into a really kind of new and unexplored world. And from the very first issue, we have a new character named Talir, who is a Vulcan from Starfleet. Talir is a Vulcan from Starfleet. We are going to eventually find out very soon how much of a Vulcan of Starfleet, and a Vulcan of Starfleet. And that's really all I'll say. They're a Vulcan of Starfleet.
Vulcan of Starfleet it is. And you can catch the first collection of Star Trek, along with Star Trek Defiant, and all the individual issues of Star Trek Day of Blood. And also, while you're at it, check out Picard's Academy. Check out Sons of Star Trek. Check out everything they got going on, and the Star Trek Defiant Annual this January. This is Sam Stone with CBR here at New York Comic Con 2023, above the chaos and noise, hopefully, with Heather Antos and Collin Kelly. Guys, thanks for taking the time.